On today's Minute of the Apes, 2 minutes in, and already I hear, oh, now you have one?
I think I have one.
Do you have one?
Yeah.
Okay, hang on, let's do that again. On today's Minute of the Apes.
On today's Minute Apes, I got my physical on Friday, and besides being in perfect health, my doctor wanted to warn me about monkeypox and the dangers that it has with, multiple sex partners or massage therapists or hair care people, which made me wonder, what... Sorry, I lost it. Never mind.
Hello and welcome to Minute of the Apes, the daily podcast where we break down every minute of the Planet of the Apes movies, 1 minute at a time. And I'm going to tell you, I'm keeping the entirety of that whole tease.
Yes. So I was trying to lead into the line, our scientists tell me humans carry terrible diseases.
Oh, that would have been good.
I was working, well, you asked us, I was trying to tumble in my head, you're like, let's do it. You ran right to the episode. I'm like, I'm not ready yet.
Yeah, but that's, you know what? I kind of enjoyed that. There's
the panic.
You get to the, I'm not saying the autopilot of creating the opens of the show, but after a while it's like, who has the tease? I look at the two guys. They get to, I push all the buttons and I do all the things. They get to tease us. And I like it every once in a while when I see the chaos and the panic in their eyes of,
I don't know.
So that was fun.
I was working that line. I had something. I was close to it. It was almost there.
You're doing
Not
minute
quite.
31 of you had your ending and you were trying to go backwards from it and you just didn't,
Right. Well, I was like the last minute, right?
Yeah.
Just building in. You knew your punchline. You just had to work into it.
Youth is wasted on the young.
There you go.
Well, and that's it for
How did I
today.
get so
That's
old?
such a great thought. We're going to leave that
right.
minute. We're not even going to talk about minute 32.
All right.
I'm kidding.
I keyed.
Sean, what's
All right.
going on with minute 32?
Well, we start minute 32 with a scared human and ends with Thade saying that extremism in the face of ...
Okay, here it comes. Minute 32. Marky Mark and Tim Burton do Planet of the Apes.
I stopped to see my father.
How is my old friend doing?
Slipping, I'm afraid. I'd like to spend more time with him, but these are troubled days. The humans infest the provinces.
Yes, because our cities encroach upon their habitat.
They breed too quickly while we grow soft in our affluence. Even now they outnumber us 4-1.
Why can't the government simply sterilize them all?
The cost would be prohibitive. Although our scientists do tell me these humans carry terrible diseases.
How would we know that? I mean, the army burns the bodies before they're examined. Father?
At times, perhaps, the Senate feels that the army has been a tad extreme.
Extremism and defensive.
As minute 32, we have an overarm's worth of apes and humans, 2 displaced pods worth of humans and apes, wild humans, and an ape city.
All right, visually, we begin with a bald human being somewhat accosted as they takes a chair to sit down next to Dave Warner. They discuss things sitting next to each other. We move along down the table. We see, I'm sorry, what is Helena's character's name?
Ari.
God.
I know.
These names, for some reason, Thade is
just
the
don't
only
stick.
one that really is hitting like the old names did. The others,
Sandar, Ari, Lita. Well, we actually, I guess Lisa Marie's character hasn't been introduced yet.
Okay.
That was character name you'd know.
So we go back and we get another shot of Marky Mark that we had before, the exact same damn camera setup, still using it. We're peering back and forth, back and forth. There's nothing visually other than a bunch of shots around the table, and that's it visually. Not a lot to go on about visually, but okay. Is it cool to have a character like Thade hate humans so much and not explain it right now?
Yeah, with no motivation.
I mean, I guess that you're always going to have a character that acts a certain way. We don't necessarily understand their motivation for a while. But
Okay, so here's my question. All right, so we have differing opinions on humans. Are they vermin or are they not? Do they have diseases or not? We can't tell because the army burns the bodies. Wait a second. You literally have humans living in your house with you. How can you not just draw some blood, do whatever test you need to see if they have diseases or not?
Yeah.
Okay, but maybe apes only have tests that they can test a dead body. Let's go on that. Maybe that's the case.
Well, these apes are stupid then.
I do think that this minute at least gives us a tad bit of information in the story. Like we know that Thade's father is an old friend.
They'd father, which makes me wonder if he's also in the Senate or how they have,
Right.
how he has that power, or has this association with his family, right?
We find out that the humans invest the provinces, that they breed too quickly.
Right.
So we at least understand a bit of the human threat. They outnumber them 4-1.
That line, that was of the
you say-
script. That line was changed. It was supposed to be 10-1, so I don't know
really?
why it was changed to 4.
But you say the humans are a threat. We don't know that. We are being presented with two different aspects of this. One person is saying they're a vermin and then a threat, and then we have
Okay.
hell in the bottom card saying, how do we know they're a threat? Because we can't even examine the bodies.
The threat exists to the general populace. The general populace looks at humans, according to this. More people at this table look at them as a threat than anyone. She is the counterpoint to that argument. And I think you're always going to have that. If they're a threat. Why are they a threat to you? You're eating. You have food on your. That's great. You have to point out the hypocrisy. But now we find out the cost would be prohibitive to sterilize them. They carry diseases, but then we have her counter argument: do they? Mm-hmm. So what makes them think it carries diseases? Are we meant to think it's almost like a political climate today, where people just say inflammatory things to get people riled?
Well, maybe. So I feel like a lot of these, they're trying to summarize a lot of themes from from the first film in this moment, without actually having a context of how this works in modern society. Like, it feels like they're bringing up this idea that we're encroaching on their habitat. We've got potentially forced sterilization issues here. We dance briefly to be too cost prohibitive, possibly moving into some type of like socialism state. I mean, there's all sorts of the army carries out these terrible atrocities. It feels like there's a lot of political issues dropped in one line without focusing on anything to give us a sense of how it relates to us today, as opposed to themes. I mean, there's no.
Isn't that part of what the first film then did so well, was to take away the idea of what is humanity and existence and civilization? You took that away, and therefore you put us in a strange world where you had to explore these things. There's none of that.
Well, that's what I mean. This is like a summarization of these moments. Like, here's an issue, here's an issue, here's an issue, here's an issue, and then none of it's related to any of it, other than the fact that these are terrible things that people do, and how does it relate to this film? Right? How does it relate to this moment of these characters?
It seems like convenient conversation so that they can set the parameters of the world.
Correct.
At this point, and that's really all it is.
Yeah, that's what it
I mean,
like, yeah.
is this a conversation they have every night, or are they just doing it because we've got Leo sitting there so that...
Yes. It's exactly. We've got him. It's like, oh, hang on. We need to tell this new dude
this
what's
dirty
going on.
human.
That's probably what. Maybe that's what it is. We're giving a sense of what's happening in this particular, giving the audience and Leo what's going on in this world. Why there's this disconnect or discord between these two groups, the humans and the apes. How the humans actually live. We're gonna make fun of their, them for having too much sex and then carrying terrible diseases, possibly related to that sex. It's a little jumble. It's a jumble of stuff, but yeah, it's telling us what's going on in this world. We have Ari kind of stand up here. How do we know if the army doesn't burn the bodies? And we have the other senator kind of look down condescending upon her, but she begs her father to help her, and so he kind of has to acquiesce a little bit to appease her, I guess.
Yeah, he is playing all sides of the conversation.
Well, the Senate does think the army does do a little too brutal or something like that. I do like Helena Bonham Carter, though. I like her father. I like her movements when she's kind of jumping around and kind of dancing a little bit more than everybody else. I like the way
I think she and Tim Roth are finding characters within this and trying the best they can with what they're given. Sure. I also want to go back to the human at the first two kind of recoils as they takes the chair from him. Wouldn't it have been a good idea to tie that into the sub-narrative with the gorilla and Leo? That gorilla's leading Leo in what he needs to be doing over here. If we see some of that, well, if that gorilla then had actually taken the human and gone, like shook his head like, you know better than that. Those sub-narratives, again, tell me who that ape is to them. And it's just a weird moment that this human seems so entrenched in that part of the world, what their job is, that they're so stupid that when Thade comes around, they hand him a chair. I mean, if they're going to be stupid, they need to be reprimanded. Like, but instead, it's just sort of jump out of the way, and it's left alone.
Well, this is all of those things with the butler server ape, with Thade, with all the stuff. These moments where they just have these kind of, I suppose they're supposed to be ape-like aggressions.
Yeah.
That just don't really make any sense. They don't have any motivation behind them to me. I don't understand why.
Well, okay, that's good. That's funny you said that. That'd be another place within this little idea of what is Leo looking at while he's working over here and observing this conversation. Why doesn't Sean and I talked about it last time. A line of sight, needs to change when Thade walks in, and when that occurs, his line of sight needs to shift to like, oh my god.
Yeah, why didn't we see him do some type of busy work? Why?
It's poorly constructed. I wish this minute could go on a little bit longer as far as what can be said, but you get down into, like you said, the Senate feels that the Army has a bit tight extremism in defense of apes. Is no vice senator is the last closed caption we see.
So you want to take up this world? Okay, so what do we know about this world? We know that Lisa Marie's character and her husband like to go to the rainforest to get away, right? We know,
but it's so boring out there.
But it's so boring out there because they've gotten used to the city. So apes no longer really live in the forest anymore. They're basically in their cities. And these cities are growing and I guess encroaching upon the forest, which is where I guess the humans live. We know that Estella Warren has said they're in tribes. So they're different tribes as opposed to one unified tribe.
Right.
We know that the Army will burn the bodies as opposed to save them. But apparently some of them are safe to be slaves or house humans. Apparently they're captured and brought into the city to be slaves. And they work in the kitchen. What else? We know that there was a thought of forced sterilization on the human population. But I mean, honestly, if you're at the point of forced sterilization, why would you just kill them all? Like, what's the point of that? Like, they're not going to...
I think the interesting thing, too, I think this scene kind of correlates to the original film when Taylor was in the cages and, on the table and whatnot with Zero when again, you're taking a person out of their element, the strangeness of apes existing and talking, and you're also putting him as a specimen on a table. And these kind of conversations in that context maybe work a little bit better because you're actually part of the... Think how terrifying that is. I'm an experiment. They're fucking talking about me like I'm an animal, and I can't talk.
Yeah.
You take away his voice, and it brings all these things into it that work gorgeously. Leo could step up and go, I'm fucking sorry. You may punch me in the face, but I got to say, what the fuck's going on here? Yeah. I would rather he did that. And instead, we just get him standing back. And I think by the fact that he can talk, it rings so untrue. Uh-oh, my wife is awake. Did you hear Lucy?
Yes.
I wish he were more shocked by what he were hearing and more alarmed. He's hearing this conversation. Why don't we see him kind of re-grip that knife?
Right.
Like something to give you the sense that he feels this tension that I've got to get out of here.
Yeah.
Something is crazy, and there's something I got to do something.
Right.
What is this? Forced sterilization? What is
I'm sorry. Were you talking about the craziness of my dog downstairs or this movie? She's very excited. Mommy's awake.
But yeah, that I need him to be doing a little bit more.
Well, especially he's our vessel into this strange world. You don't put a character from our world and our time in a strange place like this and just have them being like, what? Why are you guys talking about that?
He's being very passive. I mean, why is he not speaking? Why is he not... We're not dirty. We don't have diseases. Get out of here. Say hello to your mother. I mean, whatever. Yeah. I mean, why is he just sitting there not doing anything?
So if you got lost on a spaceship and landed on a planet... and it was inhabited with other humans and apes, wouldn't you, on some level alone as a scientist, just be fascinated by the fact that you've landed on
A planet that has
planet
talking
has
apes,
humans?
a city, and all that kind of
You
crap?
would begin to wonder what the connection was to your planet or anything like that. Like,
And the apes that you're putting in pods and
we're-
things like that.
I
What's
mean,
going on?
We're looking for alien life,
Right.
right? We're looking for anything. The
Right.
fact that you come to a scenario that's almost identical. I'm not saying he should be questioning where he's at in time
Yeah.
per se, but at least the enormity of landing someplace else with actual other humans.
Right.
I would have been asking questions like where.
How long have you...
Okay, so let's go back again to the
And
original
now-
film. You can't ask those because your voice is taken away.
Right.
And in this one, you have your voice. So why aren't the other humans looking at him as he like maybe looks around and one of them goes and just shakes their head like, you know, anything like those.
Yeah.
These I know I keep saying something, but anything that's going on within the scene other than the top level shit, because that's why this scene is boring. There's nothing in this scene other than superfluous garbage that's thrown out trying to tell me the context of the world, while my stranger in a strange place really isn't that strange.
No, he's like, I'm just here wearing my best. Wearing my best Empire Strikes Back Luke Skywalker outfit. walking
Yeah,
around.
he looks awful
Yeah.
cute. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's about all we have.
Yeah.
And I find it, again, so weird that Tim Burton didn't say, we got to have something going on over here. It just, there's nothing. That's what I'm calling this episode. Nothing.
All right.
You know, now that I did enjoy watching this in the theater.
I know you did. I remember you saying that.
I'm not hating watching it, but I am breaking it down.
Yeah.
Like I'm enjoying watching these scenes. I'm looking at the actors. The
Right.
costumes are great. You know, the little silly things. She's smelling a fruit, stuff like that. It's kind of fun.
That's fun. It's fun.
But breaking down what's going on, particularly in context of the originals, is really kind of hard. There's
is.
nothing there.
It seems like this would not be the first film that's ever been remade, and they couldn't really nail what the original was about. But this is a key example of, hey, here's the original film. Let's at least watch what made that film so good. Now, how could we update that? We got
Right.
and how they. Here we are breaking this down 1 minute at a time. Why didn't somebody do what we just said, which is, hey, in the original we took his voice away. Now these people are all going to be able to talk. We got to find a way to create that same feeling, and they didn't even attempt it.
You ever go to the convenience store or grocery store and you see those like simple lunch size bags of popcorn, and you open it up and then you have like 20 kernels of popcorn. You're like, why did I pay $3 for 10 kernels of corn popped in a bag?
Right.
That's what this feels like.
Yeah.
I didn't get a bucket of popcorn. I got a little
It's not
bag
even
of
good
it.
movie theater popcorn either.
No, it's just for some reason I bought popcorn because I thought it was gonna be healthier or something, and it's not.
Right. It is. Yeah, it's very empty. It's an empty
It's
bag.
unfulfilling. It's
Yes.
a lot of air, and
Meh.
it's 10 kernels of corn.
You know, when this is all over, I know I put that poll out originally that asked people what they were excited about, and this film, like I said before, got some attention. I'm curious to put out a poll or interaction with everyone that listens to this and just say, look, after listening to this as we break it down, do you feel any different? Because where I was tortured through Beneath and a few of those other ones, just seeing how bad it was. And it was more that the studio sort of cramped down and didn't let them have the creativity that was abundantly there. They just didn't get to explore it. This one seems like the studio went, here's a ton of money
What were they hoping out of this? I mean, I would love to go
to
back
get a
and-
new franchise.
To get a new franchise. Okay.
Yeah.
And it didn't work. It made decent money, but it didn't work enough for them to explore it.
I mean, we may need to get to the finale to kind of talk about whether they had a franchise out of this or not, right?
Well, yeah, we'll save that conversation for the end.
There's definitely more conversation I think we'd have once we get past this kind of little...
I'm glad we went down the
Setup.
rabbit hole of what it was doing to us, because I was going to feel really bad to our listeners to shortchange them, because I was looking up and it was like we were 11 minutes in and I could see the look on all three of our faces like,
Well, again, I'm enjoying watching these moments, but I'm not really having fun analyzing them. The two different things.
And again, I find that odd because I feel like so many times I was kind of pooping on some of the original films, just, you know, that it was, you could tell the money was gone. My reverence for those films has gone up considerably after watching this. Again, visually, ideas that they're putting out there, most of the makeup works very beautifully. Some of it's a little weird, but it's great. Those things are great, and I enjoy watching it. But like you, it's like there's nothing there to even grasp hold of. So, all right. Minute 32. Sean, you've been quiet for a long time, so I'm going to assume you're done.
That's it for me.
All right, Richard.
Was that really just the second minute or third minute? What do we do?
That's the second minute this week.
It's only
We're on Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday, Richard.
Tuesday. All right, cool.
All right, everyone. For Richard and Sean, I am Todd. I hope you have a great day.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.